Well, g'day everybody. This is called Grab It While You Can with a tracker update. I'm actually in Charles de Gaulle Airport at the moment. I found a quiet lounge here. Last night we're in London and then got the train back today, and now we're here in Paris, ready to head to China. Short stop over in China and then down to Auckland. So this was the best option. Lutz couldn't actually make it last night to do an update, so we missed that one, and he was available tonight, and I said, hang on, I think we might be able to do it out of the airport. So if you hear any funny strange announcements, that's what's going on, and it looks like the internet's strong enough, so we'll go from there. A few interesting things happening with L'Esprit d'Équipe. Didn't make the waypoint, so that'll be investigated later on, and we'll just briefly explain it now. The storm coming down towards Explorer and Sterna has changed again. It's actually in fact, it's very confusing in one way because there's a huge difference between the Yellow Brick tracker and Windy proper, where we actually get our forecasting from. So, but anyway, the good news is it's decreased in strength. The maximum gusts are sort of 50 to 60 knots in the intense zone on the northwestern corner. Overall, the size has decreased as well, so it's looking pretty reasonable. And once again, the tactic of going down southeast was fine by me. I'm quite happy with all that. So we'll head straight to the tracker, and we'll show you what's going on. It's actually getting quite interesting at the front end of the fleet and the back end of the fleet. This high is dominating everything, and of course, it's moved down and across to the east, so it's left Penjuic up there, way up the top. Translators come down really well, and there's lots of issues with people tacking to get around the waypoint. So we'll get into that shortly. But generally, once again, it all looks pretty reasonable in the Southern Ocean. But there's this storm that's actually starting to form very soon over by Explorer and Sterna. Sterna, we've given him a weather update, so I gave him another forecast 4 hours ago, so they know exactly what's going on. This is 40 degrees south latitude here, and this particular storm, we'd given them a waypoint previously to get to. Those big northwesterlies followed by the westerlies have basically disappeared now. They've got reasonable sailing conditions. For some reason, Stern is still carrying down southeast, which is okay because this is the rum line, remember? But you'll see what's going to happen to a degree as we move this forward. So right now, Explorer's making 6 knots going north, a little bit east of north. Did a bit of an up and down there, so they've done 60 miles along the rum line, not very far. Stern has done a lot more, 147 miles on the rum line, but continuing down. So here's what's going to play out if we now just move this down. You can see it's starting to form there, and as we bring it across, this is suggesting it's going to cross over really quickly. This is only, this is within 24 hours. Here we come up to 24-hour mark, more or less, or a little bit more. It looks as if it's gone way over to the east, when in actual fact Windy is saying it's a little bit further over here to the west. Nonetheless, the breeze is going to be northerly, and they'll sail to the breeze now. Mark will sail to the breeze. While it's heavy, it'll be going north. He can sort of cut around now to the northeast as well as it's forming and ride it across and get going. If you stay down here too far, because you'll see what's going to, even on the tracker here, it's going to actually dip a little bit down, which is creating, pretty quickly, it creates some big solid winds, which is sort of on the nose a little bit. So if Stern is down here more, it might be a little bit more challenging, whereas Mark, once he gets up there, he can follow it around and, just follow the breeze train, knowing that the closer you get to the low, as the barometer's dropping, you're going to get stronger winds. So, but that's on the 30th of November, which is a day and a half away, and by then they'll be up here and probably riding this southerly, keep going. And the good news is the sea state doesn't get too big on this because the whole lot's come down from the northwest. So generally, both boats, doesn't matter the tactics, where you're going, they're looking reasonable. Okay, so there's a lot less threat now from extreme winds and this storm. So that's all good news for those two, and they'll be happy to start making way towards Auckland and New Zealand. Probably this whole issue has probably cost them a day and a half maybe. Bit hard to be too specific because generally they've been coming down, but it's this, for Explorer, it's this big up and down, which has cost them, day and a half or something like that. But they'll be on their way very soon. So that's pretty cool. Then coming across now to the rest of the fleet. you can see, as we said the other day, Penduic would have tacked, which they did. They put in another little leg to the northeast there, just to keep it real, so they don't have to point too high, maybe. And this centre of this high is moving very slowly, so they're having to put up with that at the moment. They're not on the good side of the high. Translated, because it's directly behind the high, they've got these northerlies, which is great for speed. So I'll come from the back end first, a bit of a mixed bag for White Shadow. They're going to get some very strong northwesterlies coming up on this lot later on, but it's forecasting nothing really over 30 knot forecast winds. So right now, we've not worried about giving them any weather alerts. They'll see that they're in a bit of a high here, so the barometer will be going up, and once it passes, it'll start dropping down, and they'll know that there's another front coming. So plus, they should also be getting the Australian weather forecasts and also the weather facts. So that's kind of cool as well. Right at the moment, 7.7 knots, pretty good. 82-mile day, very good as well. They're in a good position for the waypoint. Neptune, 9.1 knots and 220 nautical mile day. That's really flying for them. They've got it behind at the moment. They've got like 30 knots there probably. 20, 25. They've had a little bit stronger wind, which has now moved across. So they'll be 25 gusting 30 or something like that. And then you've got all this action right now as we speak, all on the waypoint. So that's all a bit of fun. So okay. So we've done Neptune. Galliana with Secure had to do the big tack, and that was quite a big one. From here down, just to put it into perspective, that's 60 odd miles. So it's taken them 10 hours or so to get up there, but not too bad. Could have been a lot worse. They came up pretty well, but had to put another tack in. So she's currently holding to weather, doing 4 knots. So that's not a lot, but they've been holding high just to get up high enough. And I'm not sure what the cloud cover's been like. Let's just have a look at that to see when the latest positions they might have. Okay, so not a lot happening here. This is, they've probably been out of sunshine for a while. This is sun here, and this is all cloud cover. So there's a fair bit of guesswork going on with their DR, dead reckoning at the moment. That's not having a solid fix possibly for days and days. So their position may be out by 30 miles, or 20 miles, something like that. It's hard to predict on the DR depending on what courses you've been doing and how many course changes you've made, things like that. So there might be a bit of guesswork going on, which is part of what could have happened with L'Esprit de Keep. So anyway, just to come up again and look at what's going on here. So we've got Outlaw clear by a mile, coming through at 8.5 knots. Pretty straight line. They didn't have to really tack to get around it at all. 129-mile day. And then we've got Evrika, same thing, 9.2 knots. Seem to be very confident on their positions. And how far are they away from the waypoint? Here's their course. Boom, boom. Okay, so Evrika was 7.5 miles away, which is pretty cool. Normally, with your celestial navigation, you're going to be within, a lazy position might be within 3 or 4 miles. Okay, if you've had a fix within a couple of days, maybe 5 miles even. But if you had a fix recently, they're usually getting down to within 2 miles or 3 miles, something like that. So 7.5 miles is giving it a wide berth just to see how it's going. The close one here, I think that was translated. That was something like 4 miles, just 4 miles, or 3 miles off the mark. But that's all you've got to be. That's all it takes. So everyone's been doing pretty well to get around. But then, I don't know whether you can see that in the colour, we have L'Esprit de Keep here, and she's about 3.5 miles south of the mark, so didn't actually get around. Now, we can't prove that at this point, the main reason being, in fact, I'm going to turn the wind off here, just to show you a little bit about, just to show you no overlay. Okay, you can see the clear, distinct lines now. So 3.5 miles off the waypoint, but you can also see they tacked up here. That's a position point right there. And then 4 hours later, there's another position point there. And then another 4 hours later, there's a position point there. Now, when they do the position points every 4 hours, it just joins the line. Okay, so you've got that point there. That Bing, that's a known position of L'Esprit de Keep. The next one you've got is here, a known position of L'Esprit de Keep. And what they could have done, they could have, just after that position there, they could have tacked up, and come down here and then sail down. So by the time they get to there, it could be the next position. And they may have actually sailed around it. We can't prove that yet. But it appears that they are 3.5 miles under the waypoint. So we officially notified them that they missed the mark. And the process now is a two-part process. The first thing is when they arrive in Auckland, we will look at their charts and their navigation specific to the waypoint. And you can see here, whatever the breeze was, they were coming along, and it's highly likely that they'll have a boat speed there with the wind, and the weather wouldn't have changed that much in that period of time. And we can check the relative speeds that they've done, because they may have come right down along here like that, a similar one, and then just gone boom, boom, and then carried on this course. But that should also be shown on their chart, because the distance there is 29 nautical miles. That could be wrong. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll work it out when we get to see their chart. But before we declare anything officially, we will look at their chart, and they'll have a chance to justify it if there's something funny going on there. And it's not hard to show or to prove that these were the courses they were doing, and they did in fact get over there, or they were under it. If they miss the mark, it's a 72-hour automatic time penalty. That's 3-day time penalty, and also a new waypoint. Now, the reason there's a new waypoint, if we want to give it, someone could have sailed under that by 300 miles south of that. So in other words, making a tactical decision not to even attempt to get to the waypoint, because it might save them miles. And in that instance, if we see and believe that, then we can give them another waypoint, which is right up here, and force them to come up and around that waypoint. Otherwise, they get another 72-hour time penalty. So that's 154 hours to missing both of those. And if they miss the second one, we do the same thing again. But in this instance, it's very clear that they intended to go around the mark, and they either have or they haven't. And if they haven't, then it wasn't intentional, so we don't need to give them another waypoint. They continue sailing. It's just specific to proving whether they did or didn't get around this waypoint. So that's the process that we'll be going through once they get to Auckland. It's all a bit sad, but these things happen, and that's part of the challenge. And it's very clear. Everyone knows the ramifications of missing the mark. So anyway, Triana, I think we've covered everyone there, all looking good on that front. Then we come down here. I'll cut it back to see what's going on. Triana on the hammer of L'Esprit de Kip. So she's now 8.2 knots, absolutely flying. And she's third in IRC, by the way, which is pretty cool. Did 143 mile day. So Triana's doing well. L'Esprit de Kip, 8.4 knots, did 159 mile day. Fifth in line honours, ninth in IRC. And they're currently, when we notified them, didn't do it straight away when they get past, we let it go for about 80 miles or so, and we notified them when they're about here that they missed the waypoint, and so that's all being logged. Then here we go, maiden deadline, straight line, 8.5 knots, 204 mile day in this really solid northeasterly breeze, and the sea state. Let's have a look at that just to be. Hang on. Get rid of that. I just want to see what the sea state is here. Okay, about 3 to 4, maybe 4.5. It's dropping off at the end here as it goes towards the center of the high. So there's a bit of a sea running, but not too bad. And that's probably, in this color, it's probably, 28 something, 27, 28, gusting 35. Spirit of Helsinki, 10.2 knots. So they've got over the fear of their spinnaker wrap and their jibe. Their jibes are signed. They've got the boat going flat out again now. 236 mile day, which is pretty impressive. So that's all fun. Then translated 9. They're in a very interesting position because they're catching up quickly to Penduic. So currently doing 9 knots, 215 mile day. Second in line honours, but first in IRC and first in flyer class. And I think they'll be quite a chunk now up on top of Marie, because she's lost ground going up the top and then coming down and all this sort of stuff, and boat speed is a little bit slower because she's still, the wind is still 4 to the beam. So 7.8 knots and 124 mile day along the rum line. And now to give you an idea of the physical distance between first and second, we pick a point that's sort of like on the rum line, like it's a distance which is, Doesn't matter about how far north and south they are when you're comparing how far is it off the track. So it's about 230, 240 miles behind Translated is, which is not, it's still in touch. Anything can go wrong here for either boat, but certainly it looks as if Translated 9 is in a more commanding position to take a bit more out of Penjuic. Penjuic can't go ahead really well, but Translated 9 can, and it's going to get better quicker for Translated 9 rather than Penjuic because she's way above the centre of the high, whereas Translated is directly behind the high. So this current wind direction is going to hold for them as long as this goes straight out to the east. And that'll mean the same thing for Penjuic, that it's going to hold, because even if they fall behind it, it's still, four to the beam, whereas Translated is on the beam. So a chance for Translated to take more miles out in the days ahead. Okay, I go through the box on Dingo. Yeah, first in line on us for Penjuic, second in IRC, second in flyer class, 124 mile day. Compare that to Translated. 215 nautical mile day. So they've taken out nearly 100 miles in the last 24 hours. And that may continue tomorrow as well, which starts to close the gap when you've only got 240 odd miles behind each other relevant to the course. So what's it look like? What's the weather going to do now? How fast is this high going to move out? Okay, so we will now come back here, stick with the wind. We've got the wind, get that back there, and I'm going to progress the weather now so you can see what's happening for the whole fleet. I think that's big enough. I'll just check this one more time. Yeah, that might be easy to see, but it's more fun to see the whole system's moving. So I'm going to click it back. So hopefully you can see that okay, and we'll see what's happening here. So here we go, moving out. It's moving. The center of the high, which is dominating the weather, is moving pretty quick to the east. But you can still see if Penjuic's moving quick to the east as well, that she's still going to have a northeasterly, whereas Translated is going to have some more solid northerlies. And solid northerlies are faster than a moderate northeasterly. Okay, so I think you will see him grab a bit out of that. And that's in about not quite another day ahead. Here we come up to a day. There it is there. It looks like it's going a bit soft on Penjuic as well, coming down here. But classic front, all of a sudden, bingo. And when this comes across, they'll still be in this northwesterly, which is solid, 30 knots, gusting 40, probably 4 to 5 meter C for Translated. This is a full day out. They'll speed up, and eventually it's going to go southwest. And the moment it goes southwest, she's going to start coming up, heading towards Auckland probably. They'll be getting weather forecasts from Australia, and they'll make some tactical decisions on what they're going to do. The rest of the boats back here, they'll be sailing nicely in this southerly as it's going forward. Neptune might run out of breeze. They'll just get around the waypoint, and they'll start to run out of breeze. And White Shadow, we're watching that, but at the moment, Windy's telling us it's not going to get over 30, 32 knots here. And they'll certainly be able to predict this nor'wester coming by using their barometer. So they know it's coming. Sea state there shouldn't be too bad. Let's have a look, seeing us make that claim. Waves. Yeah, it's not too bad. That's going to build and then go 3, 4, maybe a bit of 5 meters in here, but not too bad at all. Everyone else looks pretty mild as well. So that's cool. So that's the first day. We'll keep pushing it through, see how it goes here. Coming up to the second day, everything's moving pretty quick. So Penjuic's out of jail then, you might say. She'll have a southerly on the roll, but I reckon Translated will be within 120 miles of Penjuic by then, on the course. And then Helsinki might go a bit quiet. There's that big nor'wester coming through, but that's all, we'll keep an eye on that. And that's it for the 2nd of December as well. So, it's still slowing them up a bit. So what's the leaderboard doing? Let's have a look for IRC. Line on us is there. We go IRC. So Translated 940. Penjuic is 112. So it's a full day in about 7 hours, 8 hours. So Penjuic is now 1 day and 8 hours behind Translated in terms of IRC, and Triana is only we've got 3 plus 5, 6, 7, 8, only 8 out 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 hours behind Penjuic on IRC handicap. So if she keeps going, Alpha Leather, Penduic keeps falling back a bit. You may even see Triana take on second IRC. It's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's only a few hours away. And then we come into Maiden, and she's a couple of days behind. So then it changes again. So all very interesting. I think that's about it. We've got through all of this without having any announcements over the system. So now I'll come back here and hope this is still running live. It looks like it. Yes. Okay, that's good. So I'll just pop up here and see what the comments are. A few people sitting on the side here wonder what the hell I'm doing. Talking to the screen. Part of the course. So I did mention the awards last night. We were there getting British yachting awards for the OGR, which was all very exciting. We scooped the pool on 3 different things there. And of course, the big one, I think everyone saw that Kirsten's been picking up numerous awards all over the place, including the Rolex World Sailing Yachtswoman of the Year, which was very impressive, and especially for us, for GGR, because we are a non-endorsed world sailing event, which is a whole subject in itself. And we were quite happy and proud to see the nomination from Kirsten, because historically it would never happen. Historically, you would never see a non-endorsed event sailor ever get there, because that's the way it works, and we understand that. But I think things are changing. Certainly, the GGR's got a solid following, and the OGR's going the same way. We like everything that World Sailing does. And there's some interesting stuff going on there right now, some good things in the future. So, we're very thankful for World Sailing to put Kirsten up for that. But there's a backstory to that, and it's a good one. We always say that sailing should be inclusive rather than exclusive. And with the OGR, it's the same thing. It's really creating waves and opportunities for all sorts of new sailors. And so we were it felt good to get that recognition for the sailors and for the event, especially when it's an Australian running the event out of France, thanks to Les Sables d'Olonne and all the support they give us. And yet it was a British award, and we're up against the Ocean Race, and we're up against the 50th Fastnet. And, so it was kind of fun. But sorry we didn't get the tracker up last night. It was all a bit challenging to do that. And if I'm not doing it tomorrow night, we might be in China, or sometime tomorrow Lutz might have a go. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, thanks, Kathleen. That was fun. Broadcast broken up. Sorry about that. Okay, hello from Cape Town. Why is there no offshore media from Outlaw? Outlaw, I'm not sure. I'd have to check that. I haven't been following it. But they don't have video ability, but I thought they had photos. I'm sure they did. So I'll have to check that. Can't give you an answer. Hopefully it's coming live. Thanks, Virgo. I watch okay, not broken up. Oh, Jane's watching. She's down the other end of the terminal. I had to get somewhere where there's nothing happening on this one. I just could hear the first few minutes. Okay. I could not hear the first few minutes. Okay, cool. Jump into what's going to happen to the Speeder Coupe since they missed the waypoint. I think I explained that, John. So you can see it's a tentative penalty until we see their chart, because they could be doing different things between the position points, and we'll be easily able to determine that looking at their charts. Thanks, Paul. Good afternoon, Joe. Evening from Ireland. Hugo Dundee, greetings from Gringley Hill in the UK. Good. Okay, glad you're enjoying it. Hi, Simon. Marie, look out behind you. Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating, though. It's really good. I like this stuff because that's what yacht racing is. And, the big thing will be the ETAs. I won't go there yet, but I'm hoping they don't arrive on the 8th because that's too early for some of us. But anyway, we'll be happy to see them all safely in Auckland. That's cool. Thanks, Nigel. Edinburgh food after. Talk about food. I cannot get over. Oh, I've got to be careful what I say. Let's just say the British food sometimes isn't as good as food in other parts of the world, except breakfast. You can always get a good English breakfast. The rest of it. Good afternoon. I like England, don't get me wrong. I'm going to get pegged for that, but that was my takeaway from this trip. Jeepers. Okay, reading on Facebook page is good. Good. Deborah, when does Penduic get applied? Not sure what that means. Benjuic hasn't got any outstanding penalties at the moment. The time penalty's already been applied for the first leg. It's got 72 hours because of the broken seal. That's already been applied, and you'll see it showing up in the results for leg 1. Okay. Are there supporting rescue boats around? No. If yes, do they have exact same route as the competitors, or better ones, as they might have better forecast info? No, we don't have any support boats. They're all on their own, but the fleet itself looks after its own. If someone gets in trouble, first thing that we'd do is trying to find someone that's close by and get them diverted straight away. But the rescue coordination centres in the various countries would be controlling any rescue effort, and we assist where we can in various ways with communications and coordinating other entrants and all sorts of ways. It's a combined effort, but the reality is someone puts an EPIRB on, touch wood, or does something, we don't actually coordinate the rescue. The Rescue Coordination Centre does that, and we work with them in various ways. Okay. Penalty, yeah, that's probably the speed of Kip. Video, sound all good, cool, safe travels. Where should one stay in Auckland to see the OGR events? What's near? Well, the fleet is moored right in the centre of town. It's in one of the best place, right by the America's Cup Village there, all that sort of stuff. Restaurants all around, all that sort of thing. So if you're coming to Auckland, you will see the fleet, right? It's right in the centre of the city. And then if you want to watch the finish line, you can watch it from the breakwater over by the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. The finish line is just off the breakwater, just before the bridge. And so they've got to race all the way down the harbour. And then when they come to the finish line, it's all happening there. And in fact, we don't even have to go out in a boat if we don't want to, because they've got like a finishing box on the breakwater. And you can sit there on transit on the line and take the exact finish time. So it's really perfectly suited for anyone that wants to actually watch the finish, which is a lot of fun. We'll of course, go out in boats. Ada and I will be out there with Jane's doing technology this time, so I don't have to do cameras and stuff. And Ada and I will be doing the lives, and we'll be on a boat virtually every time, unless something strange is happening. So stand by for all that. Andrew, 125 Hotel. Yeah, there's plenty of hotels in Auckland. Not cheap because it's the peak time of the year. But yeah, that's another story. We got our Airbnb cancelled and cost double to replace it. But anyway, that's another story. It's not as good. Anyway. Okay, no Barbies in November in the UK. Yes, yeah, exactly. Okay, thanks for that. I think that's all there is, and no announcement, so I'm going to get out of here, and we'll see you probably from China for the next one, but